Here's a one key concept to master insulin resistance and subdiabetes. Insulin resistance sucks, isn't it? We all agree on that. You can also know that the weight gain, especially abdominal weight gain, leads to insulin resistance. Not always, but in many cases. And yes, it's true. With weight gain comes an increase in chance of type 2 diabetes. So just what exactly is insulin resistance then, right? In most simple terms, your fat cells are so full that insulin cannot keep them inside, and fatty acids that are stored in your fat cells will start flowing into your blood. That is why most people with insulin resistance have high triglycerides, which is a fancy word for a protein that carries the fatty acids, right, in your blood. And that is not a good thing because fatty acids are toxic to your pancreas as well as other organs, including your liver. That is why many of you with insulin resistance also deal with fatty liver because your liver cannot handle all the fat running into your blood. One of the best ways to prevent this from happening is to drop that extra weight. Well, easier said than done, huh? Well, watch my video on how I lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks. You will see how I did it. Hello everyone. If you are looking for exclusive deals, blogs, educational content every week delivered to your email, subscribe to our newsletter at sugarmds.com right now. How do you know if you have insulin resistance then, right? Well, there are not really any super obvious symptoms of insulin resistance, but there are some telltale symptoms that can pop up here and there. The most common being fatigue and excessive tiredness is one of the symptoms. And in today's busy world, sometimes that is hard to notice because you have other reasons to be tired. Now, unbelievably, there were more than 90 million Americans that were considered pre-diabetic recently with insulin resistance. And when I say recently, I'm talking about 2020. But more than 30 million had type 2 diabetes, which is, again, mostly caused by insulin resistance. Let's talk about the mechanism of insulin resistance and the diabetes relationship. We need to understand how. Just how does your body take in and use the energy? Well, your body uses energy basically for everything, right? Talking, walking, thinking, breathing, digesting, even sleeping. And if there was no energy, well, your body would not be able to survive. But how does the diabetes actually begin? Well, technically, it begins with when the cells in your body stop working properly and no longer respond to insulin normally, like that's fat tissue, muscle tissue, right? So the greater, the stronger the insulin resistance becomes, the less your cells are able to absorb the glucose floating around, resulting in high levels of blood sugar and glucose. In the beginning of insulin resistance, the pancreas will increase the insulin production to help to continue to make glucose, but that's not going to last forever. So while this is happening, your cells are taking in extra glucose and blood sugars and will remain okay for a while, but this is where the weight gain happens because of extra insulin that needs to be produced. The fat cells are responsive to insulin more than muscle cells. So while that temporary fix is in place and your sugars are technically still okay, your waistline will increase and you will begin to gain weight. That is when you know you're insulin resistant. If this occurs over a long period of time, not only will you start seeing the effects of the weight gain, like cholesterol, etc., but your pancreas will also stop producing insulin and your blood sugar will start to rise. Your blood results will now show elevated blood sugar levels and you're going to be like, panicking. First pre-diabetes, then diabetes comes, right? Now, normal blood sugar levels for reference and for fasting blood sugars for pre-diabetes, etc., typically look like this, if you didn't know. The standard is typically less than 100 milligram per deciliter. For pre-diabetes, we consider that pre-diabetes is if it is over 100 but less than 125. And if your fasting is more than 126 milligram per deciliter, then you have diabetes. There are almost no obvious symptoms of insulin resistance, so it's really difficult to spot it at first. But if left untreated, it will absolutely progress and turn into type 2 diabetes. It is critical to know your body and take advantage and do preventive measures when you can. Now, how do we really diagnose insulin resistance? I'll give you some secrets here, okay? Now, your diagnosis may happen when you least expect it. Most commonly, you go in for a routine blood work or labs and find out that you have high triglycerides, low HDL, elevated fasting blood sugar levels, in addition to, being overweight in the abdominal section. Then you hear it. They will say, oh, you're insulin resistant. But then you say, what causes that? Well, there are 5 common causes of insulin resistance. Well, number 1 is genetic predisposition. Being overweight and obese is another one. Carrying that extra weight around your belly area. Even if you have a healthy BMI, if you have a beer belly, for example, that's not good. If you're not physically active, and if your diet is high in processed sugars and white flours and stuff like that, that's what it is. So what does this all mean? Why do we care? How does diabetes harm the body, right? When you have extra glucose in your body, it circulates through your blood, causing damage to nerves, organs, and can lead to more serious and even life-threatening complications. Once you are diagnosed with prediabetes, for example, taking action as soon as possible is the key here. But does weight loss really improve with insulin resistance? Yes. Research shows that 7% of body weight can reduce the risk of diabetes by around 60%. Isn't that incredible? So if you weigh around 220 pounds, then that will be just around 12 to 16 pounds of weight loss. And by maintaining a healthy weight, which is the most important thing, instead of trying to lose weight after you gain it, will reduce your chance of insulin resistance and prediabetes, and ultimately reduce the complications that may happen from type 2 diabetes. So what is the quick fix, right? Everybody's wondering. Well, unfortunately, there is no quick fix. To protect your health, no matter if you have insulin resistance, prediabetes, or a high risk of diabetes in your family, whatever, you will need to make long-term lifestyle changes. Now, this means that no binging on food, even socially. Instead of surrounding yourself with healthy lifestyle that includes healthier food choices and basically getting active again. You can even look into supplementing your diet with natural protectors, and a couple of examples are like berberine, or even better, dehydroberberine, Ceylon cinnamon, alpha-lipoic acid, benfotiamine, other B-complex vitamins, and you can find all these at sugarmds.com, which is all of these are formulated under me, and we are under strictly following FDA guidelines, so you have nothing to worry about. Now let's talk about a little bit about F word, okay? And that's fitness. How much exercise do I need to do, right? Let's break this down. Everybody is confused about this a little bit. Now, we know that National Diabetes Prevention Program Center says that, eating more healthy food plus making sure that you get at least how much? 2.5 hours of exercise a week, okay? I highly recommend you doing daily exercise to help create that routine or make it a habit. You incorporate a few changes as well, like taking stairs versus elevators. And when you park your car, park further than normal. So add a little more extra walk at your lunch or dinner, whatever. So what is sustainable healthy eating? Well, there are 3 most important factors that eating plenty of fruits and vegetables. When I say plenty, not excessively, but mindfully, the portion size and control in mind. And really limiting and monitoring your carbohydrate intake is the most important thing. One way to stay on track and keep your meals in balance is, for example, DASH type of eating, which is a dietary approach to stop hypertension, which also stops the diabetes and insulin resistance. Again, NIH, National Institute of Health, has done a long-term study for this, and they found that the DASH diet works. Now, measuring the portions of fruits and vegetables, so instead of having the whole pound of it, for example, having dairy, if low-fat dairy, but if you're okay with the high fat, if you don't have a cholesterol problem, high-fat dairy is okay. Legumes, green peas, chickpeas, lentils, a lot of beans, different types of beans will also help in your diet, and replace those with simple carbs. Again, get into the habit of reaching more nutrient-dense foods and heart-healthy proteins when you can, and keep your pantry full of that. DASH diet is better suited for long-term lifestyle change versus a fad or a crash diet, and that will not necessarily need you to limit your calories as much in the beginning. But when you are eating healthy fat diet, actually will help the absorption of glucose, and that will help preventing insulin resistance as well. So what other things you can do to reverse insulin resistance? Well, we have discussed how weight loss and healthy diet are important to reduce the risk of developing insulin resistance to begin with. But if you add additional strategies that I'll tell you right now, then you have a heck of a chance to really be successful in your efforts. And number one is intermittent fasting. Now, research has shown that intermittent fasting can help to improve insulin resistance quite a bit. But what is intermittent fasting? I have a lot of videos about this, but I'll tell you a few things here. It requires eating on a strict timed schedule that alternates between periods of fasting and eating. It doesn't specify which foods you should eat, but rather than when you should eat them, right? On average, people who practice intermittent fasting eat their meals within a 6 to 8 hour window during the day and fast for the remaining of the hours. Again, there are various types of intermittent fasting, but one of the most common is 16 to 8 method, which involves fasting for 16 hours and eating all of your meals within the 8 hour window, which hopefully you are not going to binge eating at that time. More research is needed to understand how exactly intermittent fasting helps insulin resistance other than just burning fat when you're fasting. Now, quit smoking, please. Another reason to kick the habit is that a lot of research shows that regular use of tobacco products will increase your chances of diabetes and insulin resistance dramatically. Now, like you know, if there is even a small chance that it could help, it's a great reason to quit if you're looking for reasons to quit smoking, all right? A doctor can assist you in finding resources for you or strategies to help you quit, or even medications sometimes help with the quitting. Now, exercise, we talked about regular exercise, making a habit of it. Again, muscles use up your glucose. Remember that. Most of your glucose is used in your muscles. And to get the glucose into your muscles, you don't need insulin. So if you're exercising, you're going to automatically pull that glucose into your muscles. So that's why we always say exercise, exercise, exercise. You don't need to take medications if you exercise. Brisk walk, running, whatever you can do. Or there are a lot of other types of exercises, upper body exercises. Try to keep that to 2.5 hours a week. But make sure that you spread that throughout the day and throughout the week. Muscle building is okay, like resistance training, stretching, yoga is great, taking your bike out, whatever you can do, swimming if you have a pool. But make sure you do some stretching and warm up, and then before you start and before you cool down. Again, starting can be a daunting task, but always remember to also consult with your doctor. Some of you are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go run 10 miles the first time. It may not be the best thing for you, so you have to sometimes be careful how you start. Use your supplements, right? Vitamin D is, for example, deficiency is super common in type 2 diabetics. We just made a video about that. Studies have shown that people with diabetes are more likely to have low vitamin D levels, and when you have low vitamin D, you're going to be achy, you're going to be fatigued, so you should get high quality vitamin D supplements if you are vitamin D deficient, which more than likely you are. Keep in mind that, they're not a miracle, they're not going to fix your diabetes, but deficiency is definitely going to hurt you. So how much vitamin D, for example, you need? Well, I would say you need to have at least 600 units to maintain your vitamin D levels. But for most of you, at least 2,000 units will not be too much or too little. So you would never believe that the best source of vitamin D is sunlight, right? Well, it is. And the warm rays of sun are by far the best choice. But if you are worried about getting burned or cancer, then you have to take vitamin D orally. Or you can eat fatty fish like salmon. There are a lot of enriched dairy products if you are eating them in moderation. Egg whites have a lot of them too as well. So always consult with your doctor, check your vitamin C where you're at. And, we have diavitamin, SugarMD, SugarMD neuropathy support, all has vitamin D as well. So sleep. So a lot of you are not sleeping well, but inadequate and poor quality sleep will increase the chances of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, right? According to, for example, a 2015 study, sleep is an additional lifestyle behavior almost as important as your diet and exercise. So it is important for your energy homeostasis, especially for people with diabetes. So getting enough sleep every day can help regulate your hunger hormones and lower the risk of your glucose metabolism dysfunction. Again, if you are on medications or supplements, you have to stick to them. It is estimated that 25% of Americans have insulin resistance. So there is no cure necessarily for insulin resistance in the immediate term, but making simple lifestyle changes and adding medications or supplements will help. Some of you are perfectly okay with metformin, which is great. Some of you hate it, which is fine. Thank you for all of you for helping us with that. But as you know, our products are made with totally natural ingredients and created by me very carefully. So if you're ready to control of your diabetes or insulin resistance, you gotta try something, right? In addition to your lifestyle changes, if you're failing, go for holistic approaches and if necessary, medications at some point if need to. It's important to understand that diagnosis of insulin resistance does not automatically mean that you have diabetes, but diabetes can develop if you leave it untreated, okay? Now, losing a bit of weight and creating a habit of adding exercise to your daily routine will give you incredible results. So remember that. Always remember to consult with your doctor or your life coach. So if your doctor is not approachable, visit sugarmds.com. We have a diabetes coach that you can talk to. You can talk about your diet and lifestyle changes. Eating habits that are healthy is essential in the long term because, again, weight loss is not a short-term goal, right? Having a strong support system is critical, so find buddies, surround yourself with people who think like you, especially when it comes to dealing with similar issues like diabetes and weight. So you can use SugarMD app. It will help you tremendously to achieve your goals because everything is free in that SugarMD app. Remember, guys, I don't want to throw numbers out there, but we spend $100,000 on this app and we are paying over $1,000 just to maintain this app, and we are providing that app for free. So please use it. Please take advantage of it. We are not charging. We have no income whatsoever from our app. So please use it, download it, and I hope you get the best out of it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this channel so far, and I hope you subscribed already. If you didn't, do it. And if you did, watch this video right there. I think that will help you too.